Deborah was a prophetess and judge in Israel. She worked alongside Barak, who was a commander of the Israelite army. Deborah guided the people with wisdom and faith in God. She judged disputes among the tribes and provided guidance to the people. She was a courageous woman who was not afraid to go out with the men into battle. When the army saw her, they were encouraged to fight even harder. The presence of Deborah among them was like a sign that their God was there with them also. Deborah wasn't a fighting woman. Her weapon was prayer, and the seeking of God's face and counsel for his people was her delight. She wasn't a loud woman. Her voice was not heard all through the streets. She spoke calmly and quietly, yet her words were assertive. She wasn't afraid to speak, "Thus saith the Lord." Sometimes words spoken softly are more forceful than words sounded with echoes. Deborah was adored and also respected by her people. Her faith mixed with courage made this woman seem to be unstoppable. Deborah was a good example of what faith can do with a little bit of courage. Even though she was a judge and a prophetess in Israel, she never took that as a sign to usurp her authority over the men whom she judged. She came alongside the man, guiding him with the wisdom of God. Yes, the man Barak was afraid, but she did not take that as a sign to replace him. This was where the woman Deborah shone like the virtuous woman she was. Her wisdom and humility caused the woman to shine. Here's where a lot of women can learn from this woman Deborah. She did not run ahead of the man, but she encouraged him to take the lead. She told him, "If you let me go in front of you into battle, people will say a woman gave us the victory." Deborah did not care for any of this, but for the glory of God and the deliverance of God's people. There are many women in the Bible, and they are known for a lot of things. But Deborah stood out as a woman filled with faith, wisdom, and courage. Nothing was said about her husband, or if she had children or not. All that we get was that her life was fully committed to God. She was a child of God, but a mother in Israel. They fed on the words that came off her lips, and she did not lead them astray. She was faithful to God first. Therefore, she could never be unfaithful to them. She wasn't afraid to speak God's words, for she had no man whispering in her ear, telling her to keep silent. When she spoke, all lips were silent, because they knew it was the word of God. Deborah never wrote any books, and there is not a lot written about her. There is a lot more that can be said about Deborah, but let us leave it like this. She was a great woman of faith and a mother in Israel.